For 5 million, a 32 million building was named after him. So we have continued his gift giving. We have given also to Virginia State University from his foundation, $1,500,000, and they named the College of Business after him. So what am I saying? For you, whether you say, I'll wait until successful, no. Give the habit of giving, because God is never outdone in generosity. In fact, according to Templeton, of Templeton Funds, the best investment is tithing. What does that mean? 10% of your income is not yours, it belongs to God. I have tried that myself. So I'm sharing that with you. Don't be afraid to give. Even if you have little, just 10%. Write it to your church, write it to your pastor, or write it to, something that you are interested in. Because whatever we have is 10% is not ours, belongs to God.
I have a question for you myself, which is, he was in this world of firsts. He had the largest African-American-owned company. He did the largest buyout. Did he feel the weight of history? Did he understand himself as a pioneer? And was he ever frightened about that? Was he excited about it? I'm just sort of interested in whatever he may have shared with you.
He always says, performance. I'm not going to do this so that I will have my name on the paper. I have to do this because I have to do it. This is my goal. But what I am happy about is that in the last days of his life, when he was stricken with brain cancer, and we were watching the inauguration of President Clinton, 1993. And he said, I could have been a politician. And I said, no, darling. Bill Clinton had planned to be a politician from the start. You had planned to be in business, you had planned to be on the top of your game in corporate law. So you have gotten there. And he told me, he nodded his head and said, yes, it's been quite a ride, and I disprove a lie. For me, what does that mean? That at the back of his mind, he wanted to disprove the lie that a person of color, a black man, cannot go to the very top of corporate America. And so your question, was he thinking of this and that? It wasn't really to put a name to be first here, first there. But at the back of his mind, it is to fight against racism and to show the whole world that if you are given the opportunity, if you have a dream, you can accomplish it in America. I said he was a quarterback, so he received a full scholarship at Virginia State University in Petersburg, Virginia. But on the first year, somebody hit him on the shoulder and he could not play football anymore. And so he said, okay, no more scholarship, I'm going to shift to academics and I will work full-time. Full-time meaning to say, he studied Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday, he's out working. He became a manager of a bowling alley. In another year, he was a manager, he was helping a photographer go get the contract in elementary school, high school, where the photographer will take pictures, the parents will pay, and so he was the salesman. He was so good that the photographer offered him partnership, but he said, no, I have other dreams for myself. So he was able to finish liberal arts, major in political science and in economics in 4 years, because he was very careful that every year he passed and that every year his tuition is paid. He always was a family man, but it didn't mean that he did not go out and hustle. As a lawyer, you have to hustle. So he was out many times. He was out, going to meetings, going to parties, going to a bar, hustling. But at the same time, he also knew that family is important. And so when he lost the deal of the furniture company, because he was told that he was going. That's really defamation. So his lawyer the next day called him up. Reg, we should sue him for defamation. All right, sue him. And therefore, they settled. The money we got was bought. That's how we bought our East Hampton home. So every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we would be in East Hampton. Okay? And that's where he recuperated. That's the balance that we had. Monday to Thursday, out working. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were together. We had, family time. And so that's how he recuperated. Because you do need time to smell the roses. And that's how we manage. He did not only enjoy the academic life in his second year. Okay? First year was all football. And then when he lost the scholarship, he went into, academics, so that at the end, he was already on the dean's list. So in other words, you fail here, you move another way. So he was in the frat. His fraternity, he became the head of that fraternity council of all fraternities. He was also, he is a player, if you know what that means. Okay, so he dated. He would have a party for the fraternity. He would see to it that there are more women than the fraternity brothers, so they have their pick. So, so he had fun at Virginia State, but he never lost his goal to finish in 4 years. You cannot afford fifth year. That means more money. Finish in 4 years. So every semester, I think, he would be on the finance office to see how much do I owe. So again, for you, no finances. Even when we got married, he would always have assets and liabilities written down on yellow pad. How much money he has in the bank, how much he's saving, how much he's investing, how much he's, assets and liabilities, income and expenses. Always, from the time I knew him, he was already doing that. And of course, as time goes by, the assets and liabilities became bigger, but it was a habit that he had even before. You never know whom you will need. When he was still a practicing lawyer, okay, and he's trying to buy business, he was introduced by one of his friends to Mike Milken. At that time, Mike Milken was a big investment banker, Drexel Burnham Lambert. And in 1980s, the leverage buyout was rampant. What does that mean? You borrow almost all the money to buy a company. And Mike Milken was doing that. He was buying, he was the investment banker. He doesn't buy it. He's the investment banker, raising the money to buy Nabisco, okay? To buy, almost all companies were being bought by people who are not in the business, but who have contact with Mike Milken, and he would raise the money from savings and loan to buy businesses. That was the 1980s. With very little money, you can buy it. And so, your question was, what was the question? How did he go from?
Yeah, like what was your reaction when people told you?
Oh, my reaction. As I said, it's very daunting, okay, for me, because he just sold a 65 million, he's just sold the business for 65 million. And therefore, he started buying arts and all that. And he wanted to buy this big house in the Hamptons. It's so big, we didn't have maids, but if that big house, you need a chef, you need somebody to clean the house and like that. So for me, it was a little daunting, but I went along. That was his dream, I went along. Okay, so adjusting to new circumstances, you go along. If you know both of you have the same dream, go along. Okay, adjust.
Okay, I have another question. The dean of our business school is fond of telling all of our students to begin with the end in mind. And I'm sure when you hear his story, there are many dreams in this room of following the path he took and becoming a billion-dollar entrepreneur. And yet in the world today, for instance, many startups fail. So there's a certain tension between what you might want and how you get there. I wonder if you have any advice for our students about just how you plot the path forward when you do have the end in mind.
All right. He said, don't start a business, buy one. Why? Because 90% of startups fail. So why are you going to put yourself in the 10%? How sure are you that you will not be part of the 90% that fail? You buy a business. And whatever business it is, you must have a plan to make it better. His first business that he succeeded was McCall Pattern Company. Do women still sew? No. The sales of McCall Pattern Company was going down. But in his mind, he knew how to make it efficient and more successful. And indeed, he asked, McCall Pattern is paper. What do you do with paper? Greeting cards. So he started a greeting card segment, and very successful because paper is 1 cent, and you sell a greeting card for $3. What else? It's paper. What do you do with paper? Print something. And sewing is dresses. How about knitting? So they started another line of business where you print how to knit, or knitting patterns. And McCall Pattern Company had the most successful, profitable year in its 113 years of history. So what do I tell you? Start small. Start on something that's already there. If you're going to start a business, look at other businesses that is out there that you're interested in, and maybe be employed there to learn the business. And who knows, after maybe 5 years, the owner is 65 years old, he might sell you the business on credit. So I'm saying don't start a business. If you want to, do that. But 10% fail, so why will you go there? Look for a business that you like, and that's where you start. And then learn from your banker how to borrow money. They said there are 5 C's: character, capacity, capability. I don't know the other 2. But when you have a bank, get to know who it is. Get to know the business section of that bank, because it's your credibility when you're ready to go into business, when they lend you money. That's the hardest thing, how to raise money to buy a business. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you. So the times are up there. We have a precious few more minutes of Mrs. Lewis's time, and some food for everybody in the back of the room. Marilyn, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Loida, thank you so much.
Okay. May I just say the 3 things, the
Yes.
secret of success? Okay, I'm always asked. So this is my own. Mr. Lewis, I have told you, keep going now and all that. But I tell the young people, there are 3 secrets of success. First is goal setting. Bobby had already said it. Professor Brown had said it. Dream, goal. Set your goal. For this year, what's your goal from February to December? What's your goal? And that's, your goal personally, your goal physically, your health, your goal financially, how much money do you want to earn, and your goal spiritually, your connection to God. Set your goal. The second one is obedience to a code of ethics. Do what's right. Don't do what's wrong. Because within you, you know what's right and what's wrong. Why? Because if you do a shortcut, because it's convenient, or you break some rules nobody knows, eventually it will catch up on you. And what was so easy will become hard. And what was so hard, because you're following the rules, you're following the law, you're paying your income tax, it will eventually become easy. So obey a code of ethics. And the last one is determination. Determination to get there where you have planned. You may not always get there this way or that way, okay? So you may have to veer, get the opportunity, but be determined that you're going to succeed. And so what's that? Goal is G, obedience is O, determination is D. It spells G-O-D, God. Why? Because I believe With God, everything is possible. With God, nothing is impossible. And I have my own life to prove that. Thank you.